How's everyone doing? Welcome back to the House Business Podcast 2.0. This show is Caleb Thompson, man. We started recording this and then just cut off on me. Man, like I said before, man, thank you guys for tuning in, man. Welcome live from New York City. This is a place we give you the knowledge and the tools to execute your dreams and visions. So today we're going to be talking about partnership agreements that prevent problems. So, like we were just saying, I'm giving you three talk points here as I usually do. I always give you three talk points just so we can continue down the trajectory of the conversation. Use that as a goal point and stay on topic. But business partnerships that prevent problems. Now, we were just talking about this, and we were talking about how partnerships are like a marriage. Partnerships are like marriage. You know what I mean? So, first talk point is that create clear expectations before problems arise. So you need to already understand who you're dealing with. You need to understand exactly what your non-negotiables are. What are you looking for? You before you put anything on paper or expect something from someone else, you need to know exactly what you bring to the table. You know what I mean? That's part of authenticity as well. So you need to know exactly what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. You need to do a complete analysis on yourself first. You know what I mean? If you if you know that you smoke or you drink or you this and you that, you need to take a complete analysis over yourself first. And then when you're looking for a certain type of person, you need to understand that they may have some flaws or some things, and you need to find someone that can help fill those weaknesses. So like I said, I was just telling someone, a colleague the other day, um, about this when we were kind of using this as an analogy when it comes to business partnerships and having a business and talking about also relationships and how those things coincide and have some similarities. But one thing I've learned is that the best partnership agreements don't just prepare you for success; they also prepare you for disagreements as well. When you know exactly who you're dealing with, when you guys understand, like I was just saying a while ago, some couples have safe words. They have some safe words. You get to arguing too loud, somebody's going to say the safe word and it's going to stop the conversation. You know what I mean? And say, hold on, man, we're letting this thing get too far. This thing is getting out of hand. You know what I mean? Before we, ruin our business partnership, ruin our marriage, or ruin certain things, so let's stop and really understand and try to understand what each other is saying. And that's that way that you keep things in agreement. But they prepare you when you know who you're dealing with. You have your if you have a strong agreement, it will give you a clear outline of the other person's roles, responsibilities, ownership percentages, and things like that, and decision making authority as well. So that's something that you need to take into consideration, man, before you start to get into a business partnership, man. You really need to know who you are for one, so that you can find someone that has those same core values but has a different skill set in another area that could help you guys to move forward. But when expectations are written down, you write them down, are written down from the beginning. Misunderstandings become far less likely. So when someone knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it, you don't have a misunderstanding. If someone disrespects you, they uh or they something happens with their roles and responsibilities, if they're not performing them, either just blatant disrespect, or it's just that they don't really care. You need to get out of that partnership, or cancel the agreement, or cancel the contract, or I cannot think up the word. But guys need to make sure that you come up with another agreement to on terms on how you can get out of the contract as well. When that person knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing, it shouldn't be a misunderstanding. If I'm coming to you and I'm telling you, okay, this is what I expect of you, what do you expect of me? And they're saying, but first, you can't really expect anything from anyone unless you know who they are, know what their skill sets are, know exactly what they possess, to a certain degree when it comes to business. So once you guys get that established, you put all your stones on the table. You look at uh uh what I do, how I do it, the skill set I have, the value I bring to the table. We do the same thing with you, and then we find a way to where we can use both of these skill sets to grow together. So that's the same thing that you need to do when it comes to a business partnership. And but once you have clear expectations, of what's going on, and you guys write it down, it's far less misunderstanding. If I know that it's a certain time I need to be to a place, a certain client I need to talk to, certain things that I need to do, there should be no misunderstanding about that. So talk point number two, is I protect the business by planning for difficult scenarios. Excuse me. So it says this: I protect the business by planning for difficult scenarios. Man, that's the same thing you got to do in your life right now at this time, man. I was just talking to someone. I was just talking on our other podcast, and what we were talking about is not really just emotional intelligence. We were basically talking about how to stay grounded in chaos, and one way you can do that is by uh preparing for bad things to happen, and what you cannot control you have to release. So we were just talking about that on another podcast. But protect your business by planning for difficult scenarios. And sometimes you got to have emergency funds. Sometimes you got to understand that this thing might happen. It might happen in a way that I wasn't expecting for it to happen, but you still have to have a backup plan. You still have to have a backup plan. So protect the business by planning for difficult scenarios. Same thing, like I said, business is marriage is basically the same thing. You want to plan for difficult times that comes ahead, man. You can call it the emergency fund when it comes to business, or you can call it, survival tactics, when it comes to, marriage or whatever, you know what I mean? So one thing I realize is that every partnership should answer the hard questions before they become real problems. Do not let the little small things that you see and you notice slip. You know what I mean? So you have to have those hard conversations, man. If someone is mistreating you, if someone is not really respecting your boundaries, someone is not not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then you're just letting it slide because you feel like, well, it hasn't really gotten out of hand. It's not bad. Maybe they were just joking. You need to have those hard conversations. You need to be man enough. You need to be woman enough to address certain things before they get out of hand. You don't wait 10 years down the line and you're just like, oh, I can't believe this happened. Well, there was so many signs, but you just didn't want to have the conversations about it. So you know what I mean. You really need to see when you see things start to slip before they become big problems. It's just like having a kid, and you have a kid 5 years old. He's telling you to shut up and he's cussing you out. And then you're like at that age, instead of you having the hard conversations and doing what you're supposed to be doing, because then you wait till they're a teenager and they're putting hands on you. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, before things get out of hand, you need to establish what the boundaries are and who's in control and what we're doing and how we're moving forward. You don't wait till you know what I mean? You can't get control over 4 year old, and then you wait till they get 14, 15 years old, and then they're beating on you as a parent. You know what I mean? Because you didn't nip it in the bud when they were younger. You let them cuss, you let them do whatever they want to do. So it's the same thing with a business partnership. Shoot, one thing my business partner can let me know if I'm slipping in the area, tighten me up. Don't wait until you see me. You wait till I drown or I'm almost drowning. And then you're coming to try to help. Teach me how to swim before I get out there in the water. You know what I mean? Tighten up those loose areas before things get out of hand. So man, make sure you discuss what happens if a partner wants to leave or becomes unable to participate in what you guys have going on, or if the business needs additional capital or whatever you guys need. So having business sale provisions, dispute resolution processes, and exit strategies create stability in certain times. So there are, like we was just talking about earlier, you do need to really uh, put on paper not only uh, the business agreement of what you guys will be doing, but you need to also have a clause in that agreement, basically saying how anyone would be able to leave that agreement without breaching the contract. Without breaching that agreement, there are certain stipulations, or there are certain clauses in this contract that will allow me to leave without any consequence or without any heavy consequence where we have to take it to court. So you do have to have an exit strategy as well. And number three is build trust through transparency and accountability. And that's one thing that I'm really big on, transparency. It's hard for me to deal with someone. It's hard for me to work with someone if you're being manipulative. Like, you can't tell me that you're operating at this capacity at this certain level. Some people can tell anyways, you know what I mean? Some people can tell that you're really not, like they say, about that life. You really don't move like that, or you really don't know. But it's okay. But it's okay. I always tell people this. I was telling my brother this the other day. I was telling him, say this quote. I think it's by Albert Einstein. I'm always doing what I don't know how to do so I can know how to do it. It's okay if you don't know. But it's not okay if you don't know and you don't try, and then you're angry at someone else that does. That doesn't make sense. I'm always doing what I don't know how to do so I can know how to do it. You don't guess what? You didn't know how to ride a bike until you did something you didn't know how to do, and then now you know how to do it. You didn't know how to turn the TV on. You think you just woke up one day as a kid? No, you either watched someone or someone taught you how to turn the TV on or taught you how to use the bathroom and use the toilet. You know what I mean? All these things were taught. So you're always doing something that you don't know how to do. And so you can learn how to do it. You have to apply that to every area of your life. So it's not okay for you to not try or not to do something and be mad. I can be mad at Steve Jobs. Oh, Steve, oh, all rich people are bad people, but you never tried to get rich. You really never understood, tried to gain the knowledge or do the research in order to learn how to accumulate those funds or went through the process and learning how to build yourself to a person who can be able to handle $1 million. But you're talking about rich people. So you're talking about, this person or that person. So, the thing is this, you need to continue to do things, but have transparency, man. When you are transparent, when people don't want to be transparent, now there's a difference between people that don't want to be about transparency. Some people have been hurt so much that they really don't want to expose too much too early. Okay, we get that. And then there's another group of people, when you're talking about business, talking about making money, you're talking about things like that. You need to be transparent because a lot of people don't want to be transparent and open with you because they don't want to hold themselves accountable. As soon as something happens, they like confusion because confusion helps you not to be able to pinpoint them in a situation. They can throw it off on someone else. But when someone is transparent, they are accountable. They're saying, okay, well, I put it all out there. This is the agreement. These are the things that I'm supposed to do and my responsibilities I have now. There is no way out that I can run from something that is outlined that is in clear, and I have clarity of what I'm supposed to do, and I have to be held accountable. I can't throw this off on someone else. But a lot of people like confusion. They don't like transparency. They don't like what I call it is how you say this all the time. Come straight across the board. You know what I mean? I'm straight across the board, man. That should be my favorite word, man. To talk to people. Come straight across the board. I don't need you zigzagging and zigzagging and whatever you got going on. When you talk to me or whenever we trying to establish something or whatever we're trying to get something accomplished, we need to come. You need to come straight across the board. You need to come right to so I can hold you accountable and you can hold me accountable. You start talking to me in pig Latin, you know what I'm saying, and where I can't understand you speaking Chinese, like we cannot work together. We can't be together. We can't operate this company together. No, you need to go find someone who likes to play games. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I've learned is that a partnership agreement isn't about expecting failure. It's about protecting trust. So you need to be transparent and you need to hold yourself accountable and you need to be able to hold that other person accountable by outlining the responsibilities, outlining things that they need to do and what you need to do. So if anything happens, you guys there's no way out of being held accountable. You can't throw this off on someone else. So when everyone understands the rules, the decisions become easier and relationships become stronger. So when everybody understands what's going on, everything becomes easier. It's hard. It's hard. I tell people all the time, it's hard. It's hard for you to keep a relationship because you're playing games. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be. It's when everything is laid on the table and you know exactly. And you don't need to really be in a relationship or a business partnership if you yourself don't know exactly where you're going or where you're trying to go in the next 10 years. If you don't have a vision of what you want to do or what you want to accomplish and what you're trying to achieve, you know what I'm saying? Because relationships are beneficial. So I'm not saying that you need someone that's going to be beneficial towards what you're trying to do, but you need to lay it out on. You need to at least have a goal, especially as a man as well. You need to have a goal of where you want to take your family or take your wife. You need to have a goal. You can't just, or you're just going to be floating around here, and people they'll be together 17 years, wait 17 years of their life, bring some kids in the world, and they're mad at each other, hate each other, things like that. You know why? Because there wasn't a clear goal that was given, and where both of you guys had that a clear goal creates a purpose for you and your partner. If you have no clear goal towards what you're trying to reach, you know what I mean. You don't have purpose in what you're trying to do or what you're trying to accomplish for the next generation or what you're trying to accomplish for yourselves. You may not have to have kids, but the thing is this that when everyone understands the rules, like I said, decisions become easier and relationships become stronger. A well written agreement allows partners to focus on growing the business instead of resolving avoidable conflicts. You know what I'm saying? Just keep coming back with the same thing. Once we're already established that, you know what I'm saying, when we're together, I don't want this to happen in a certain type of way. I don't want you to do this and do that because we represent each other. You know what I'm saying? If you're not a clubber and things like that, you don't need a business partner that's gonna bring that lifestyle into the company culture. You know what I'm saying? He's at work at he's at work at 1 p.m. with a beer on his table. You know, all the employees are looking at him crazy, but he don't care because he owns the place. He's the partner of the place. So you need to have someone that has the same morals, the same values, but at the same time, you need to have a well written agreement of what this person does, how this, you know what I mean, really understand that person. And then that way, through that transparency, through the clarity of that written contract, that written agreement, you guys know exactly it holds that other individual accountable, and it helps you to avoid conflicts, unnecessary conflicts that comes up. See, when man, let me put it like this, man, it's some people that are mad at people for things that the other person doesn't know about. You know, how are you mad at the person you're with, or you're mad at an employee, and you're going around talking about this person, but this person doesn't even have a chance to fix what's wrong because they don't even know what's wrong. You're just holding a grudge against someone who doesn't even know that they've even offended you. You came up with some crap or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You guys ever been in a situation like that? Sometimes you come home, man, your girl's mad at you. You don't even know what she's mad at. She won't tell you, but she still want to hold, she still want to be mad and still want to be angry. You're like, you're not even giving me, I don't even care. You know why I don't care? It's because you're not even giving me a chance to fix, anything that I've done to offend you. That means that you want to find something to stay mad at me for. And that's something you cannot do when it comes to business. You need to address you need to be transparent. Any problem that you have, or anything that you want to say, or anything that you feel like is off, you need to address it before it becomes unavoidable conflict, and leads to destroying your company. So, man, this is the House of Business, House of Business Podcast 2.0, man. I'm your host, Caleb Thompson, man. We come live from New York City. It's a place we give you the knowledge and the tools to execute your dreams and visions. This episode is called Partnership Agreements That Prevent Problems. We'll see you guys back here next Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.